Hey guys, it's Hinda and welcome to Cooking Fantasies. In today's video, we're going to be making a very delicious and flavorful coffee cake. We're going to be making this cake with oatmeal, apple, spices, nuts, and some caramel topping. It's very delicious. It's very rich in flavor, very moist texture, and yet it's really easy to make, so let's get started. Actually, before we start, if you are visiting the channel for the first time, we make many delicious things here, so make sure to hit the subscribe button, the little bell to get all the notifications, and let's get baking. And as always, I'm going to be leaving you down in the description box all the ingredients you're going to need in both the grams and the cups measurements. I'm going to first start by roasting the oatmeal in a hot pan for about 2 to 3 minutes, just enough until they start browning from the bottom and they start smelling nice. Oats are shy, and when you roast them, all the flavors are going to be exploding and coming out, and it's going to taste really good and complement all the other flavors and things we're going to be adding to the cake. Next, I'm going to be roasting my walnuts. This is also important for both the texture and the flavor. Roasting brings all the flavors out. And if you don't want to use walnuts, go ahead and use pecans, almonds, whatever you prefer. And you can even leave them out if you don't want to have nuts in your cake. And just like the oats, roast them for a few minutes in a hot pan until they start smelling nice and browning. Then remove them and leave them on the side for now. And now let's make our cake batter. It's a basic cake, so we're gonna break the eggs that should be in room temperature, to which I'm gonna be adding sugar. And here I used vanilla infused sugar. You can use vanilla extract, it's even better. Next time when you use a vanilla bean, when you extract the seeds, don't throw the bean, put it in a bottle, add some sugar to it and close it. Eventually you will end up with some very delicious vanilla flavored sugar. The eggs and sugar mixture is ready when it turns pale and it doubles inside. Now go ahead and add your oil continuously while mixing. And then do the same for the milk. Once all the wet ingredients are well combined, I'm going to go ahead and sift in the dry ingredients. I'm going to start by adding half the quantity of the flour. And I'm going to sift it together with the ginger, cinnamon, and baking powder. I chose ginger and cinnamon because they taste really good with the oats and the apple. It's actually my favorite breakfast. When I make my morning oats, I add a little bit of ginger and cinnamon with apples. It tastes really good, and this translated into a cake was just perfect. Once I have sifted in half the quantity of the flour with the dry ingredients, ginger, cinnamon, and baking powder, I'm gonna add the oats and the walnuts that we have already roasted. And as I said at the beginning, if you don't like walnuts, leave them out, or you can use pecans instead. Also, I've left a little bit of oats and a little bit of walnuts to add on the top of the cake later. And now, using a whisk or spatula, just with the hands, no machine, I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate all these ingredients into the wet ones. And finally, sift in the rest of the flour and incorporate it gently. And now it's time to add the apple, so I'm going to grate it directly into the batter. It's very easier to do it this way. If you prefer to, you can also cut it into small cubes. And again, incorporate it just with your hands gently, using just a whisk or a spatula. I have already prepared my baking tin. I lined it with some parchment paper on the bottom. I buttered the sides and floured them. And I'm using here a 26 diameter baking tin, but it's very optional. You can also use a bigger or smaller one. It's not a problem. You can use a rectangular, a square. It doesn't really matter. Also, and to be honest with you, I didn't use the whole batter. I kept some because I wanted to try and bake it as muffins to see how it will turn out with the sugar crust, and it turned out amazing. So if you use the whole batter, of course, you're gonna end up with a bigger and higher cake. And I added on the top some of the oats and the nuts I kept earlier. The oven is preheated to 175 degrees Celsius, that's 347 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's gonna take about 35 minutes to bake. You know it's ready when it smells nice and it has a nice golden crust to it. And you can also insert a toothpick in the center that should come out clean. The raw grated apples we added to the batter don't only add to the flavor, but it makes a whole difference in the texture. They keep the cake really moist and kind of fondant texture. If you cube it, you will have more moist texture, and the more apples you will add, the more apple fondant texture you will kind of end up with. I decorated my cake with some salted caramel sauce. It's very delicious and it goes really nice with the cake. If you want to know how to make your own salted caramel sauce, it's really easy. I'm going to leave the link down in the description box. This whole combination of oats and nuts with the spices we used and the apple and finally the caramel touch, it's really amazing. It tastes very good and it has a very interesting and delicious texture. I'm sure you're gonna love it, and it's very easy to make. And if you do give it a try, let me know how it turned out. And I thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the little bell to get all the notifications, and see you soon in a new video. Happy baking!